Who feels like they have trouble receiving, whether it's money, whether it's love, right? Whether it's support, right? So this is like a wound and the people pleaser wound. And I have a really simple graph diagram that's really going to help you guys understand this. And it's super simple. So what we start off with is up here, right? We have a need goes unmet in childhood. Okay. So when we're children, we have needs, right? We need love, we need attention, we need food, we need safety, we need shelter, we need all these different things in childhood. But what happens is when a need goes unmet in childhood, children are egocentric. They can't help it. They don't have a concept of other, right? They don't know, well, mom went through trauma and that's why she doesn't give me hugs, or dad has to go to work. That's why dad isn't here. It's just, what am I doing wrong? And why, like, I'm feeling pain. What am I doing wrong? Why doesn't anyone love me? So what happens is we have a need that goes unmet, and we develop this belief that I'm not good enough, or I'm unworthy. Who here resonates with that? I'm not good enough, or I'm unworthy. Anyone? Yeah. Okay. So that's the flow, right? Need goes unmet. I'm unworthy. I'm not good enough. So then what happens is we have a survival strategy that starts to kick in. And there's one of two that I found, right? I was sitting, the way I found this out was I was meditating for an hour a day. I went to the woods and I sat and meditated. And literally, like, this diagram was like done in my head for me, like on a whiteboard. And it was just like, oh, here, and then unmet need. And it was like, it was coming to me and through me. And I had to go home and write this down. And I've been working on this and understanding it for about a year and a half now. When we come down here, a need goes unmet. I'm not good enough. I'm unworthy. One of the survival strategies that we step into is you become a caregiver. And the way that I define a caregiver is someone who tries to meet other people's needs so that they can get their need met. Right? So the logic is, well, I need love. I'm not getting it. So of course I'm not good enough and I'm unworthy of love. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take care of my mom's emotions. I'm going to try and get attention. I'm going to try to help. I'm going to become the people pleaser. I'm going to be the healer. Whatever this other person needs, I'm going to give it to them so that one day I can have my need met, right? For me, all right, when I was younger, my dad became homeless. So it's like, well, my dad can't fucking take care of himself. So I have to step up and I have to take care. I'm responsible for my father's well being because I love him. And he obviously can't take care of himself. So I have to. Right. So what do? You give care to caretakers. Right. If anyone's heard of the empath and the narcissist dynamic, right, which I think is a little bit mischaracterized. What happens is the caregiver gives to caretakers. And caretakers are people who are in this cycle. They have the same wound. Their childhood need went unmet. So they also believe they're not good enough and they're unworthy. But instead of the strategy of, I'm going to meet other people's needs to get my need met, what they say to themselves unconsciously is, no one's going to meet my needs. So I'm just going to do what I want. I'm going to get what I want. They become manipulative. They become cold. They find the caregivers to give them care and love and attention and presence and time and energy and money and all the things. But no matter how much the caregiver gives to the caretaker, they can't really receive it. They always want more because they're also not good enough and worthy of receiving it. So what happens is we then come back into your needs being unmet. So needs are unmet in childhood. I'm not good enough. I'm unworthy. You become a caregiver. And what happens is you consistently and constantly give to the wrong people And because you're giving to the wrong people who have no intention or don't know how or don't have the capacity to give back to you and meet your needs continue to go unmet. You continue to fortify, I'm not good enough. So you try even harder. And a lot of people get to like 25, 30, 35. There's some people in their 40s that are still trapped in this cycle and don't understand what's going on. And when you start to understand that the caregiver and the caretaker are two sides of the same coin, you can start to break out of the cycle. Now, before I move on, I just want to ask, who does this resonate with? What's coming up for you guys when you tune into this diagram and this flow of energy so far? 30-second takeaway. Let's go.
Oh, sorry. No, I was just saying, I just feel heard and seen. Like, finally, there's method to that chaos. Like, I don't feel like I'm going insane when I'm like constantly wanting to give and never receive, and then I don't feel good enough, and then, like you said, it's a cycle over and over and over again. So yeah.
And then you have to give even more because you're even more unworthy, and then you, right?
That's where the chameleon comes into play. I feel like I had to mirror people, because as a caretaker, if I give them what I think they need, then they'll love me more, but they never did.
But so, it never works, yeah. Right? Beautiful. Let's go to Sydney and then Deanna. Sydney, what's your biggest takeaway?
Well, I got a preview of this diagram on our call Thursday, so I know where it goes next. And I have to say that it just keeps, I just keep calling it to mind. And it's knowing that it's all about giving yourself what you want so desperately for other people, you know, meeting your own needs. You can't unsee it, you know, like that's the beauty of it. It's like, I'm just grateful for this framework in the same way that Raya said she is. Like, you know, just seeing it almost kind of makes it a science, you know, like a mathematical formula, you know, it makes it easier to address how to correct that.
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much. And yeah, me and Sydney tuned in with this, and I'm going to show you how to break out of the cycle, because it's super simple, super easy. But it's just until you see the thing and you know what's happening, it's like it's your 2-year-old trying to get your needs met in the world, but you're an adult now and you're still working from a 2-year-old brain perspective, right? Deanna, what was your takeaway?
The caregiver giving to the caretaker and back and forth, those two connections. The other ones I understood, but I didn't do that with my family because they were the ones that were hurting me. But you just explained my first 9-year relationship, that we were both coming from broken homes. And so we were both exchanging being caretakers and caregivers. And it was a very codependent relationship. Blissfully, and I know it's not, I did get raped during that. And I broke away from everything because I needed to heal, but otherwise I would have been stuck in that cycle. And you just explained and validated my decision of, thank you, because I knew I had to get away, but I could never understood it or put it into words why. And I saw, oh, we were eventually been in that cycle because we were so subconsciously just, you know, but thank you. Yeah, awesome.
And you just raised a beautiful point, which is the caregiver becomes the caretaker too.
Yeah, it was back and forth.
Yeah.
The relationship codependency for 9 years.
It's the bipolar relationship, and it's the codependency. And this is the thing, is the caretaker needs to manipulate someone to get it. They need to make them feel guilty or shameful or blame or bad so that they get their needs met. But then that other person, if they do give it to that person, they don't feel good about giving it, right?
No, and it's back and forth. If two people are coming from broken homes, you both exchange roles. You don't even know it. It's so subconscious, but I got to see it now. And I was like, oh, okay. My intuition was always leading me. Thank you.
I got you. Yeah. And I'm gonna help on another piece too. Anyone else have any 30-second takeaways? Yasmin?
Yeah. Boy, I don't know if I could sum that up in 30 seconds, but you're bringing up a lot. And I feel that it has taken many decades to really understand the importance of boundaries and pouring love into yourself. And, you know, I've done a lot of healing I've sat with plant medicines and been shown so much that although it's a difficult cycle, it's so important as well, and it's so necessary, you know. So it doesn't have to all be negative. But yeah, you bringing up stuff from I didn't really have parents. My brother's in New York. I had a 7-hour conversation with him this week, and I've only met him a couple of times. I met my father a couple of times, who passed away 17 years ago, and it's amazing to be able to help express and help others in my family, not all of them, but understand their issues of abandonment and this, that, and the other, because it starts like you do fantastically with, well, where are you at? Or you can't hold down a relationship and you're 31. Okay, bro, well, that could be, you have abandoned, you think I have abandoned? And then just in the middle of a conversation, he threw that in there because I know his psyche's working, because he there's a block there. And he spent 12 years with our father, but yet he says he learns more from me about who he is. And I just reminded him that we are a part of him and his energy. So even though I only met him a couple of times, I know he's around, right? And there's great healing in that too. But yeah, coming back to the caretaker, caregiver, I've had a lot of relationships that are similar to that. And then when you mentioned about, you know, your parent doesn't hug you because they were hurt, ooh, that hit me in a place. Because there's been times when my daughters needed me to hug her, and I just couldn't, and that's really sad.
Yeah.
But it's all learning and growth, and I think as well we have to really be forgiving of ourselves and forgiving of others, to really move on and set these boundaries.
Yeah. Let's take another deep breath in. Good stuff.
Yeah.
I just want you to know you're not a bad parent. Okay. It's okay. And once you step into the next piece of this, it's going to be so much easier, because the thing is, we can't meet other people's needs if we need that same thing, or if we're resistant to it because we don't believe we deserve it, and et cetera, et cetera. And so once we start to do the shift piece, like, that is not going to be a thing anymore for you. Okay. I got you. And if you ever need extra time to connect, let me know and we can jump on a call. All right. Because I can definitely feel some emotions. Yeah. All right, everyone, deep breath in. And any last 30 seconds shares before I move on? Okay, beautiful. Who's ready to figure out how to break out of the people pleaser cycle? Anyone? Yeah. Okay, good. Oh my gosh, this is like fucking ridiculous. I was in this thing so long. Okay. So people pleaser. So one more time, a need in childhood goes unmet. I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough. Your strategy is, I'm going to either make everyone else feel better. I'm going to meet everyone else's needs, which is actually a really selfish thing. If you think about it, it's very manipulative. I'm going to give you this, so you give me this, right? It's like this unconscious contract that we make with people, and we get frustrated and resentful when they don't actually meet our needs, because we're not asking for our needs to be met. We're just trying to do everything for them. We give to caretakers. These people can't meet our needs because they don't have it to give, because they also believe they're unworthy and not good enough. It's the same pain. And as someone said, we can flip-flop between the two. We go to bipolar extremes and we end up in a codependent relationship where we need the other person to meet our needs, but no one's getting their needs met, and it's just pain. And this all reinforces this really painful cycle that spirals us down into negative self-worth. Okay. Now, really, really easy, really, really simple. I'm telling you guys, it's going to change your life forever. And you're going to kick yourself in the butt for not understanding and knowing. All you have to do is cut out the middleman. Okay. And you have to just ask yourself, I'm going to put this in here in pink. I like pink. What do I need? It's so simple, guys. It's so simple. I was so mad when I found this out. What happens is when you cut the other person out, because basically you want your boyfriend to be your dad or your mom. You want your girlfriend to be your dad or your mom, right? We get into these relationships that mimic our childhood dynamics because that's what's familiar and that's how we know love. But in reality, we're just getting hurt again. So when we ask ourselves, what do I need? Right? For me, my partner, this little anecdote, my partner, I was like, I'm gonna make 10 grand a month and I'll be able to take care of us, and all this stuff. And like that was my energy, right? When I first started out. And she's like, she's an incredibly intelligent woman, my partner is. She was like, okay, James, so why do you want to make 10,000 a month? Because if you're gonna go from being absolutely broke and shit poor and working a 9 to 5 to $10,000 a month, you're gonna need to know why. And I kind of listed all these bullshit answers, like I want to swim with dolphins and and I want to go on vacation, all these things, right? But at the bottom of my list, I was like, I want a hug. And that's the thing that really resonated with me. And looking back, she was like, James, what the fuck? you're you want a hug? That's why you want $10,000? You're like, you can go get that for free. You can get that from me for free. You can go dancing, get hugs, right? But really what I was trying to do was I was trying to prove my worth by making money so I can take care of my partner's needs so that I can get love and a hug, which is what I really needed in childhood. She was like, James, if that's your deepest why, you're never going to make $10,000. And she was absolutely right. Right? So when we tune into this, I needed a hug. Let me pull this up. I needed a hug. And what I want you guys to do, let's just mute ourselves. Let's just start to listen things out. I needed a hug. What did you guys need in childhood that you never received that would have made all the difference? Just unmute yourself popcorn style. Yasmin?
Everything.
Let's narrow it down to one thing.
Unconditional love and acceptance.
Acceptance. And what I heard in there was safety and stability.
Yeah.
Okay. So acceptance, safety, stability. Beautiful.
Mhm.
Who else?
To be believed when I said what was happening.
To be believed. And I would say to be seen, heard, understood, and validated. Yeah?
Yep.
Does that resonate?
Yes, sir.
All right. Who else?
Yeah, I would say understood,
Yep. Understood.
acceptance. I also put stability, safety, and peace. I was brought up in a very angry, all over the place household, so peace was super important.
Beautiful. What else? Let's get maybe one or two more.
For me, it was safety.
Safety. Yeah. So we can see children don't need a lot. Right? What else? Anyone else?
Emotional support.
How would you know you received emotional support?
Oh no. Okay, here you. How would I know that I received it?
Yep. Because that's what you valued. What's the criteria? What's the checklist? How would you know that you received emotional support? Because someone might be like, well, someone sent me a text message to check in on me, and that would make me feel emotionally supported. Someone needs to listen to me. How would you know that you've been emotionally supported?
I guess you will feel, I don't know. You'll feel heard or listened to, or
probably not judged.
I think as a child, for emotional support, you kind of want to feel checked in on with your emotions.
Beautiful. This is good stuff. So everyone take a deep breath in. So when you guys shared that, right? When you guys started to tune into what you needed as a child, but you didn't receive, how did it make you feel acknowledging what you needed and didn't receive?
I'm tired of
Disappointed.
crying.
Mm.
Sorry, I'm tired of crying. I'm like, damn it, James. Every time I get on this call with you, but I feel like everything that's in that box is everything that I've ever felt. Like losing my mom at 14 and having a dad that chose not to be there. Safety was the number one thing for me. And I did the people pleasing to protect myself so that I wouldn't go down the same route. And it's crazy on how like all these emotions are coming up. And I'm like, "Ugh." That is crazy how all that, just acknowledging it, it feels like a weight is lifted off my shoulders. Like, I can breathe. I can breathe.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Because imagine being a child and you're scared, you're lonely, you can't defend yourself, you don't know how to eat, you don't know how to get, like, you can't survive in the world without your parents. And imagine how it would feel if, like, they're not paying attention to you and they don't know where you're at and how you're feeling and what you're doing. And you're just this ball of big a mess and I don't feel safe. And all you need is someone to say, hey, what's going on? My coaching is just meeting children's needs. Right? I speak directly to people's inner child. I don't do it on purpose. It's just what I do. But as Lariah just said, the weight lifts off your shoulders because you're like, someone understands. And if they understand, that means they're listening. If they're listening, that means they care. And if they care, they're not going to leave me. Right? Does that resonate with anyone? Yeah, good stuff, Lariah.
And they
Yeah.
won't hurt you.
And they won't hurt you. Yeah, if they feel you
They
and care
won't.
about you, they're not going to like yell at you or beat you. Right? Good stuff. Anyone else? What are the feelings that are brought up? Anyone? It's okay if no one wants to share. I see
Actually,
Sydney. Go for it, my friend.
I think someone else said it, not feeling judged. That's a big one for me. My daughter starts talking to me every time she hears me start to talk to the group. But yeah, that was, I think my biggest wound, particularly around my writing, was that I experienced when I was about 12 years old. I had written some really personal things, and I would write erotica as like a growing young girl, and my mother, she read my diary and was concerned because she thought that I was actively involved in things, and so it became like the big, like the before and after in my life, in my like youth. I remember just my mom was very Christian, and I remember her judging me about what I wrote. She had me like shred the pages of my diary, and so like even a lot of my writing wounds are directly connected to like my sexuality and feeling judged, and so like I'm at that point where I'm aware that I have allowed that fear of putting my writing out into the world and being judged for it is a part of what has kept me from stepping out. But the more I share that story, the more I find people who are like, I experienced the exact same thing, and now I feel afraid to write and express myself because of it. And that's definitely like connected to the people pleasing wound for me, is like fear of letting people down, disappointing who they thought that you were, and then just like paying the price of punishment forever because you weren't able to live up to someone's image of you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, my friend. Thank you for sharing. You got a lot of medicine to give, a lot of medicine for the world. So everyone, let's take a deep breath in. And just recognize as we start to share into the circle, a lot of our needs are being met, being seen, being heard, being understood. I'm not alone. I'm not weird, right? I'm not going to be judged. So all of you guys who are going to be coaches and leaders and teachers and all this stuff, I want you guys to know it's really easy to create group space because the group does it for you. Just sharing into the space and not being judged, sometimes that's the first time in your life where you felt like you didn't have to feel shameful for being who you are. That's the medicine, right? I just show up. I definitely have some experience and knowledge, but it's not hard to make money doing this just by showing up, right? And let's just tune in. I think Yasmin, you were going to share something, and then I'll finish this off.
I can't remember now. Thanks, James.
That's
I
okay.
just had a bit of a cry, so thank you.
I got it.
Appreciate that.
We love you, my friend. That's all here. This is what we're gonna do. Everyone, rub our hands together. And what I want you to do is, as you create this heat, I want you to take some deep breaths in. And I want you to find one person on the screen that you resonate with, that you deeply connect with. Deep breath in. I just want you to send some love over there. And I also want you to feel yourself receiving. Knowing that you're seen, you're held, you're loved. Not going to judge you, just understanding. And in this space, you're safe. So that being said, one more deep breath in. Just place those hands on your heart. And just give yourself some of that love, some of that safety, some of that understanding. And just notice what it feels like to hold your heart and hold your inner child. Because this is the answer. This is the cure for people pleaser. It's like, oh, wait, I'm meeting my own needs. Right? So my deep breath in. Coming back to the moment, coming back to the call. I wish I took a picture of that. We're all like, it's like, oh, James is leading the cult. Okay, let's do it. Awesome. So the last little
Take
piece.
a screenshot when you replay it.
I can't, because when I do it to the cloud, it only shows the person who's talking. It doesn't show the whole thing. Yeah, I have to do it, or I have to record it on my laptop, but I don't want to have, 80 gigabytes of, group coaching space that I don't
We
look
can
at.
take
So
it for you because when you send it, I should see it.
we'll do it. I got you. So let me just finish this last piece up. So basically, guys, once you cut out the caretaker and once you stop trying to give to everyone but yourself, what happens is you start to create a positive loop. You start to become the caretaker and the caregiver. You start to have the positive and negative within you instead of relying on someone outside of you to do that. And once you start to meet your own needs, right, you become a caregiver to yourself, and you start to, maybe it's through journaling, maybe it's through, for me, my inner child just wants to go on adventures, right? He needed to get out of the dungeon that was his house, the prison, and he wanted to go swing on the monkey bars and go through the forest and go to the beach and just go have fun and adventure. And when I started doing that and giving that to myself, I started exploring and feeling so good and adventurous. And it's just like my inner child was like, wow, you love me. Right? So you have a need that gets met, whatever that need is. What happens now, you start to come over here, instead of I'm not good enough and I'm unworthy because your needs aren't met. Now your needs are met and you're like, oh, wow, maybe I do deserve this. Maybe I do deserve love. Holy cow. And it starts to feel really good. And the better it feels, you start to come back down here and you give yourself more care. You meet more of your needs. And the more you meet your needs, the better you feel. Your needs start to become just a non-negotiable for you. And you start to change this from I'm not good enough to I'm absolutely worthy of love and my needs being met. Right? So that's your new paradigm. And then the caregiver down here, you start to really direct that back up and you go through the list of needs And once your needs are being met, my friends, I'm telling you this, once your needs are being met, and then the need becomes met, boom. And it starts to go into this positive loop of I'm absolutely worthy of love and my needs being met. I care, give to myself, my needs are being met. You start to build self-respect and self-worth. And guess who's attracted to people who have high self-worth? People who value themselves and their partners. Because guess what? You start talking to a narcissist, or you start talking to someone who's trying to manipulate you or get something out of you, but you're meeting your own needs. You don't need anything from them. What power do they have over you if you don't need anything from them? I'm not saying you can't receive things from them. What I'm saying is you're no longer trying to energetically hook them and, oh yeah, but if I meet your needs, and you get that codependency, right? And what happens is when you respect yourself, this is the thing I want you guys to really tune into, and because this is going to show up in your clients too. Okay, right? Because right now, everyone here, if you're not like getting what you need from your clients, you need something from them. I need money, or I need validation. So you're putting all these little weird energetic hooks unconsciously in your clients, and they feel that. So the people you're attracting are the people that need to put hooks in you, and they drain you, or they don't have the money, or you need to save them or fix them or do all this work for free. But when you value yourself, people see you as valuable. Is anyone getting value from this call right now? Right? Do you guys feel like I need anything from you? I just want to give. It's like, it's me stepping into like kingship. And it's just like, I'm here to bring abundance to the land. You guys are here to help people grow and evolve. And just like Deanna said, if I sit down in front of one person, I help one person. But if I sit down in front of 10 people who help 100 people, I'm helping 1,000 people. Right? So that's what I'm receiving. I'm receiving the abundance of the gift that's spreading out into the world. Do you see how like the shift in the mindset of like, I'm unworthy, please love me. I used to do workshops and run workshops, and I was like, oh my God, no one's going to show up. No one's going to love me. Why am I even doing this? I'm so stupid. No one loves me. And then 14 people will show up, and I'm like, oh shit, I guess I have to run a workshop now. Right? But it wasn't until I started really meeting my own needs and stopped depending on other people that I started to raise my self-worth, my self-respect, and my value. And now, because I don't need anything from anyone, I can say no. So if someone's taking from you, if your family is talking shit, if you are being whatever, like, you're being your light and someone starts trying to cut you down, block. What do I need that for? What are you giving to me? That's why I asked whoever said that earlier, what are you giving to me? You're just trying to take away everything that I've built because you're miserable and sad and you need something. Sorry, I love you. And when your needs are met, guess what? This is what the last thing. A lot of people do inner child work, right? But how do they do inner child work? They sit in front of someone who acts as their parent. They sit in front of a coach. It's like, oh my gosh, maybe I do deserve love. And oh, this person's not judging me and all this stuff. Right now, I'm kind of serving as a step-in parent or step-in parent figure that's meeting your needs. But what I want you guys to understand is that's not permanent. Inner child work on its own is beautiful. It's healing. It's a step. But you need to do inner parent work. You need to become the parent that you needed in childhood so that your inner child feels safe with you. When your inner child feels safe with you, you start to trust yourself. How many here don't trust themselves when picking a partner? Anyone? Oh, okay. I was going to say they got a couple liars in here. Right? It's okay. No judgment. No judgment. How many of you trust yourselves with safety and security and providing for yourself? Beautiful. How many people feel overwhelmed and unloved in relationships sometimes? So everyone take a deep breath in. Once you identify your needs, and I'll share a PDF, super easy, nonviolent communication. It's a whole list of needs. You identify your needs and you figure out ways to meet those needs. For me, it was adventure. I needed to go on trips in the woods, go by the creek, go splash in the water. For some people, it's safety and being heard, accepted. So what do? You sit down and make a daily practice, just like you would with a child, create some structure, some rhythm, and say, I'm going to give you 5 minutes to express yourself, and then I'm going to validate your expression. Just journal. I felt this today, whatever it is. And at the bottom, you could just say, I love you, and that makes sense. Imagine what it would have done for you in your childhood if your parent or parents just listened to you, just made space, safe space, didn't shame you, and just said, I love you. That makes sense, and I'm not going anywhere. I see you, Yasmin. I see you. What would that have shifted for you? Last couple minutes. I just want to hear from you guys. I love you. That makes sense, and I'm not going anywhere.
I have no idea. I really don't. The way so my daughter's 15, and by that time I was already on the streets. So I think the reason why this is quite deep at the moment is because I can't imagine not being there for my daughter. I can't imagine not, like, what it takes, how much it takes for a mother to be so disconnected to her own child, especially when she's so connected to the other one. I really don't know how to answer that. I do think about things, but I wouldn't be who I am today. And I do love myself for being that way. I just think I'd be a whole different person.
Yeah.
I think if I sit with it, I do feel that a lot of opportunities I would have been able to receive a lot more happiness in my life.
So you said something along the lines of, I can't imagine not being there for my daughter, right?
Yeah.
What I want you to change that to is, I can't imagine not being there for me, for my inner child, for that part of me that was abandoned and rejected and has all these big feelings and just needed love and reassurance. When you can make that shift, this is what I want everyone to understand, is when you can give it to yourself, guess what? Now you have it. Now you know how to give it. So you literally become a walking embodiment of medicine. The reason why I can come and just show up and people start crying is because I sat on my bed and cried so fucking much. I used to tell people that was like my sales pitch, is like, listen, I've cried a lot more than you. I don't care what you went through. Okay. I cried a lot more than you, and I can take it. And because I can give myself those things and regulate my own nervous system, now me just being in a space, people just divulge their deepest, darkest shit. And then they receive what they needed, because I'm like a tree with fruit. I'm no longer a little sapling that if someone comes along with a little stick, they can whip it off. No, I'm giving fruit. And that's my point, is to give fruit. You guys are starting to become the sapling as the inner adult. And once you create that structure and stability and safety for yourself, now you can give fruit instead of cutting down your sticks and cutting off your branches. When someone's hungry, they don't need branches, they need fruit. You're like, here, take my branch. Here, take my branch. Everyone's like trying to chew on a fucking stick. That's not helping nobody. You're not even helping nobody trying to help everybody. But when you can become the inner adult, not getting too biblical because I'm not, but like I was thinking about like Jesus and the Father. What did he do? He walked around, he told stories, and he healed people. That's all I do. I just walk around, I tell people stories, and people start crying, their life gets better. It's because you're embodying father energy, the father. If you had a shitty dad and someone comes along with loving father energy, it's going to be healing. It's going to be nourishing. If you had a shitty mom, you walk around with mom energy, it's going to be healing. It's going to be nourishing. So I want you guys to become your inner adult, inner parent. Start meeting your own needs. Forget about the other people. Because the thing is even the people that shame you and blame you right now, once you embody this, one, they're not going to bother you as much. And two, they're going to be a lot nicer to you because you're not fighting over the same resource anymore. That's the pain. I need love. I need love. Give me love. It's like you're fighting for water in a desert. But when you have love in overflowing abundance, all those triggers they had, they can't touch you anymore. And you just start to give. And if you start feeling drained, you have enough self-respect to say, sorry, I love you, and I'm going to spend less time with you. Does that make sense and resonate with everyone? Beautiful. So I want to let everyone know that we're at our time, right? But if anyone has any extra things they want to share or input or insights, want to stick around for a couple minutes, I'm open to it. This is such a beautiful moment, and I didn't plan this, but I had a lot of fun.